This week, the George Lucas empire strikes back with the release of Star Wars Special Edition, an all-new digitally enhanced print of the original film. 20 years after it exploded onto the big screen, it's still one of the most watched films of all time. It created a new film genre, the special effects movie, stylistically defined by wham-bam editing, ear-splitting sound and jaw-dropping computer effects. These days, the Star Wars legacy lives on in films such as Independence Day, Jurassic Park and the new volcano disaster movie Dante's Peak. But should Lucas have left well alone? To assess just how special his Star Wars Special Edition really is, we spoke to Barry Armour, Chief Technical Director at George Lucas's special effects company Industrial Light and Magic, critic Kim Newman and the man himself.
For an entire generation, people have experienced Star Wars the only way it's been possible, on the TV screen. But if you've only seen it this way, you haven't seen it at all.
Now, for its 20th anniversary, the adventure of a lifetime returns to the big screen.
Star Wars was designed to be a theatrical experience. It was designed to be on the big screen. Sound is extremely important, and it's very important to the overall enjoyment of the film that it be big.
Traditionally, our role has been to enhance the vision of the director, to accomplish things that they can't do live and on set, whether it's a matte painting put up in front of the camera or something done entirely in post-production. It's always, to serve the director's vision.
The history of the fantastical or the adventurous in cinema has been tied up with developments in technology, always at its very best when linked in with a really strong artistic vision or a story worth telling.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
Certainly when Star Wars came along in the 70s, the use of technology, of effects, changed completely. Also, the ecology of the business changed completely. It created the notion of the summer blockbuster picture that the studio would put all their money in hope of making vast amounts of money back.
Yes, it was the blockbuster. It was the standard that everybody now had to meet.
Look at the size of that thing.
Cut the throttle, Red 2. Accelerate to attack speed.
The new kids who've been brought up on films like this and for whom Star Wars is a rather tame, passé, old-fashioned movie will experience what their parents felt.
It was George's idea. I mean, it was his film. He certainly had the right, morally, financially, to make whatever changes he wanted to. There were things that were missing in it that he's been able to fix.
Right
here, Jabba.
Even just the one scene that was added with Jabba introduces that character and the conflict between Han and Jabba in a lot more evident way.
The inclusion of one big new scene, the scene with Jabba the Hutt, computer generated, on one level, it's nice to see it, and I'm sure it serves to convince you that you are seeing a different film.
Look, Jabba, next time you want to talk to me, come see me yourself. Don't send one of these twerps.
But no matter how much they fiddle with it, it's exactly the same movie.
What the hell are you doing?
Somebody has to save us kids.
It's all on the screen. There's nothing behind the screen. There's nothing to make you think or trouble you. In fact, the whole planet is destroyed halfway through. And we're told that billions of people have been destroyed, but we don't know them. We don't really care about them. We're much more upset by by a cute robot falling over than by the deaths of multitudes. That may not entirely be a good thing for our culture.
For me, I got to remake the movie and get it be finished the way I want, so I'm perfectly happy.
It's a shame that Lucas chose to fix the aspects of Star Wars that weren't broken. Wouldn't it have been better to use computer technology to make emotions register on Mark Hamill's face?
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
And to dub in really good dialogue and to maybe make the characters more complicated.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
I'm sure George Lucas is dreaming of the day when his computer will generate the actors as well and probably come up with a script.
The Force will be with you, always.
Well, I'm not sure if the Force is with me, but I have been joined now by Graham Linehan, one of the creators of the hit comedy series Father Ted, and who also writes for film magazine Neon. Graham, you're a huge fan of Star Wars, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, in the same sense that everyone my age is a huge fan of Star Wars. You can never really shake it. You know, it's always imprinted on the inside of your eye.
How many times have you seen it?
I'm sure I've seen it about 10 times, but I think that's fairly normal for a 29-year-old. If you see it at 9, then all your pores are open. It's the perfect time to see it, and you never recover from it.
Did it kind of change your view of the world then?
Yeah, it did. It totally altered me. I think it led to an obsession with science fiction, and that led on to just a love of movies and a love of reading. And as well as that, I always felt that, when you're a kid, you always think that everything is great. Whatever film you're taken to is wonderful. And I remember afterwards, Battlestar Galactica came out, and I remember thinking, this is this is the worst film I've ever seen. And it was my first critical judgment.
Well, the critical factor is fully in gear now. You're a grown-up and you've just seen the Star Wars Special Edition. What did you think? It's
so simple. It's such a simple story.
Does it seem dated?
It does. Well, the haircuts seem dated. It's like, the haircuts are astonishing, It's amazing the way that the 70s always dates, but no other decade in history seems to date quite as badly. It's still powerful in many ways. It's kind of... I was always amazed by the amount of technical detail that went into what is really silliness, like the idea that the Sand People always travel single file to hide their numbers, which I'm sure George Lucas probably got by researching battles of the past or armies of the past and so on. So I like that level of research.
What do you make of the changes then? For example, the Jabba the Hutt scene, as we've seen.
I enjoyed that. I thought that was great fun. They do have the effect of bouncing you out of the film. They kind of, if you're an adult watching it, what they do is they keep you alert. You're always on the lookout. You can't remember whether you've seen that before or whether the
Does that enhance your enjoyment at all? Is it a bit anarchy? You go, oh, there's a new bit.
I don't think it enhances your enjoyment. As I say, I think it kind of removes you from the film, and it reminds you that it's a film, and it's unfortunate. It would take, but having said that, I think if you saw it for the first time, if you're a kid seeing it, I think it will have exactly the same effect that Star Wars had on me when I was a kid, because the amazing thing about it is that the kind of effects that are used are sort of Jurassic Park style effects, but they're not used for anything in the foreground. They're used for background detail, and there's going to be kids just thinking, why did they make a film about that thing? So it's like, I mean, there's just some wonderful moments going on in the background. And that's all it is. It's just texture, and kids are going to be astonished by that.
Just very briefly, I mean, this is the first of many films, as well as the other films in the trilogy. There's going to be the digitally mastered Godfather, Das Boot, and so on.
Graduate.
25 years, and The Graduate too. Cynical marketing exercise, or what?
I don't know. It would be if they get Jabba the Hutt in each of them. I'd like to see Jabba the Hutt in The Graduate. That would be nice.
Runs down the aisle with Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Could be a good one.
Jabba! But no, I don't know. I think it's like it is like when they brought out CDs and everything got repackaged. I'm sure people will go along to see. But on the other hand, it's great to see some of these films in the cinema. It's terrible. It has to be making some cynical people a lot of money, but it's good to see films in the cinema.
Graham Linehan, thanks very much indeed. Cheers.
Thank you.
You can see the first part of the re-release trilogy nationwide from the 21st of March. The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi are released in April. And now time for our movie previews.